Hey, Floyd, what was your reaction to the fight, man? What was your reaction to the fight, man?
Nah, which Lamont won? Who you got won? Lamont.
Man, you gotta just create more action. That's a sparring session as far as
Boxing legend Floyd Mayweather shared his thoughts on the GervontaDavis versus LamontRoach fight, weighing in on the controversial outcome. The boxing world erupted after the match ended in a disputed draw. Shakur Stevenson also reacted strongly, insisting that it wasn't a draw and that Roach deserved the win. He criticized Davis for being overconfident and underestimating Roach's abilities, suggesting that Davis didn't see Roach as a real threat.
Which Lamont won? Who you got won? Lamont.
you thought Lamont won? By how many rounds?
I don't know.
You still want the Tank Davis fight?
You said what?
You still want the Tank Davis fight? What went wrong? What went wrong? Take out a little steam or fire out of me, or is it still the same?
I mean, we're gonna see. I'm the best fighter in boxing. I've been saying this, so.
Shakur, what went wrong for Gervonta in this fight? Just because, could we say maybe because Lamont didn't come in, they really...
I think he got overconfident. I think he was thinking Lamont wasn't that good. I told everybody how the fight was gonna go. The fight went exactly how I said. Exactly.
After seeing this performance from Gervonta, do you believe your confidence has gone a little bit more up?
My confidence been up. I've been knew I was the best.
A mistake that ultimately led to his struggles in the ring. Many fans shared Stevenson's frustration. Shakur Stevenson tweeted about the GervontaDavis versus LamontRoach fight, saying, "My tweet hit tonight, for those who don't know anything about boxing." He added that the fight unfolded exactly as he had predicted. Fans echoed his sentiments, calling for an immediate rematch. Renowned boxer and media personality Jake Paul also weighed in, expressing disappointment with Davis's performance. Paul criticized the lack of intensity in what was supposed to be a
He got lucky at the draw. He did a good fight though. I thought he won it, but man, you gotta just create more action. That's a sparring session as far as I'm concerned. Oh my God. But god damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
Championship-level bout, comparing the match to a sparring session rather than a real fight. He remarked that this didn't look like the GervontaDavis he knew, suggesting that Davis had strayed from his usual aggressive style. Middleweight champion Demetrius Andrade also shared his thoughts on the fight, acknowledging LamontRoach's impressive performance.
Fight, Roach had something that we all wasn't expecting. He might have had power. His distance was good. He came in ready, prepared to fight, and he showcased that. And man, we had a good fight overall. It was a good IQ fight.
You know, honestly, do you think Roach pulled it off?
I'm not going to say that at all. I don't think that the draw is good, you know. Other than that, it was a great fight. We'll love to see it again. It's me again, Caleb Plant, Chalo, Munguia, Edgar Berlanga. Where the fuck you motherfuckers at? Let's get this shit happen. You already know. So I'm playing. Let's get these shits popping, man. Time is ticking. Tick, 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 tick.
I mean, 100%. What do you think about Berlanga's obviously opponent that he chose? I mean,
Andrade argued that the bout should not have ended in a draw, suggesting that Roach had done enough to earn the victory despite the controversial decision. He praised the overall quality of the fight, highlighting the competitiveness and high-level skill displayed by both fighters.
Pues ahora sí que dieron una gran pelea, ahora sí que me sorprendió la pelea que dio LamontRoach y bueno, fue una gran pelea para toda la aficionada.
¿Tú crees que fue un empate?
No, yo creo que no, creo que le quedaron a deber la caída a LamontRoach, pero bueno, decisión de los jueces y del referee que no le hizo válida la caída, no le hizo el conteo.
¿Qué le fue mal en esta pelea para Gervonta? ¿Qué fue lo que no hizo para que los jueces le den esta pelea? ¿Tú qué piensas?
Bueno, él nada más apostó a un solo round, a un solo golpe para poderlo noquear y el cual Loma venía muy bien preparado, muy bien concentrado en el plan de trabajo. Bueno, creo que a Tank le faltó presionar, tirar más golpes para ser más contundente y que se viera más efectivo a la hora de la victoria.
¿Te gustaría ver una revancha entre ellos?
Pues estaría muy agradable. Ahora sí que la primera estuvo muy buena. Yo creo que la segunda.
Lightweight contender Isaac Cruz voiced his disagreement with the draw, highlighting a key moment when GervontaDavis took a knee during the fight. Cruz argued that the judges and referee failed to properly award LamontRoach the points he deserved for that moment, which could have significantly impacted the final result. He suggested that this oversight contributed to what he viewed as an unfair decision.
There's no doubt this
Danny, what's going on, my man? What do you think of the fight?
Stay with me, right?
Danny, what do you think of the fight, man? Are you surprised by the outcome? It was a close fight.
I'm not surprised the way Lamont fought. I knew Lamont was going to come to fight. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. He did a good job. He fought a great fight.
What went wrong with Tank Davis? I mean, I was
what was wrong with him?
Out.
Every night in boxing is not your best, you feel me? But at least you got the draw.
Would you like to see a rematch of this or jump into a fight with Shakur Stevenson?
They don't, whatever they want to do. You think it was a draw? I don't know. I thought it was a good fight.
Former world champion Danny Garcia also reflected on the bout, calling it a great fight that showcased the talent of both boxers. Speaking on Davis's performance, Garcia noted that not every night is a fighter's best, suggesting that Davis may have simply had an off night. He emphasized the unpredictable nature of boxing and the difficulty of maintaining peak performance at all times.
For fans, for people in the sport, etc., etc. I thought it was, in essence, the right decision. The only question about whether the upset draw is justified is whether Steve Willis erred in not deducting a point in a late round when Tank Davis appeared to touch the canvas with his hand. And, you know, that is going to stay in the woodwork and haunt the fight in the breach a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's a setback in Tank's career and for his reputation. I think most observers expected him to knock Roach out, particularly because Roach was moving up from 130 to 135. Sometimes when a fighter moves up in weight, he gets stronger, and it looked as though maybe Roach did get stronger and had a greater ability to resist Tank's power than other opponents have had, because Tank did tag him with a lot of clean shots, and he wound up throwing more punches than he likes to throw to get that done. He tagged him both on the chin and to the belly, etc., and couldn't seem to hurt Roach. And that was another surprise in the overall picture of the fight.
Veteran boxing commentator Jim Lampley also weighed in on the outcome, stating that draws are often disappointing for both the fans and the fighters. He noted that many had expected GervontaDavis to score a knockout victory, especially since LamontRoach had moved up in weight for the bout. Lampley suggested that Davis's failure to secure a knockout could be viewed as a setback.
Oh, and that right, but Davis took off some of the steam of the punch, but still, Roach leaned with that. He took a knee. He took a knee. What is he doing? He forgot his...
back in his career, potentially impacting his reputation and standing within the lightweight division. Undefeated welterweight champion Terence Crawford took to social media to express his shock at the referee's decision not to count GervontaDavis's kneeing incident as a knockdown. In his tweet, Crawford
I thought Roach closed the last 2 rounds, and then if you think about it, that knockdown was a knockdown. He took a knee, they should have counted, and you know those 2 points, like Roach said, you know, it would have been on his favor, and he would have won the fight. But you know, I hope they run it back again, which I'm sure they will, and you know, we get more of a clear, you know, victor for either side.
How much of tonight was LamontRoach being LamontRoach, and how much of it was GervontaDavis maybe not being at his best?
It was more. Reason? It was more. Yeah, well said. I think it was more of Lamont being Lamont. A lot of people were not expecting that. He was catching the punches really well, took them well, great combinations, and he just stood in the pocket and fought him right in the center of the ring. Even Tank was not expecting that, and I think that threw him off. And you know, great great performance by LamontRoach, and Tank Davis. He's got to fight more. It's not as consistent with the fighting, and you know, again, the timing probably wasn't there for him this fight.
What does this say about Tank, man? Some people had him as high as, top 5, top 10 pound.
You know what that's going to say about Tank now. Obviously, people are going to talk shit, and people are going to, put him, probably take him down on the pound for pound list, and it is what it is. But so that's why Tank has to come back and really get that rematch and really make a statement, if it's with him or whoever else.
And lastly, Adam, people wanted to know who's the best lightweight. Is it Keyshawn, Shakur, or Tank? Do you think he can still beat those guys, or did Lamont show some things tonight that those guys are just...
Lamont's definitely there. Lamont can fight any of these guys.
Yeah. Voiced his disbelief, implying that the officials may have ignored basic boxing rules during the match. "I've never seen someone take a knee and it not be counted as a knockdown," he wrote, adding sarcastically, "Must have forgotten the rules tonight." Former 3-division world champion Abner Mares called for a rematch between GervontaDavis and LamontRoach, stating that Roach performed...
My reaction for this Tank versus Roach fight, I'm really disappointed, to be honest. Like, it's leaving a bad taste in my mouth. And the reason why is they leaving a negative energy out there. And a lot of y'all might not understand because y'all don't come from underserved environments or was never incarcerated or things like that. I'm from D.C. and I know how we get active. I know people from Baltimore and I know how they get active. When we talk about rivalries are cool. When I'm talking Commanders, Cowboys, stuff like that, that's friendly and cool. We talk our trash, but when we talking about when it's negative and we know that Tank have a young following and things like that, and I'm seeing certain people at these press conferences, violent individuals, and things can really turn out bad. So yeah, I understand they selling the fight and things like that, but certain things, it can get real bad. And I don't want to see nobody lose their life. Let this be a healthy rivalry. Y'all go in there, best man win, and fight over. It should be all love. We got to be careful with the messaging that we putting out. It's Mr. We Fit.
True to his abilities that many, including Davis, may have underestimated. Mari suggested that this underestimation played a role in the fight's outcome and that a rematch would give both fighters the opportunity to adapt their strategies accordingly. Washington, D.C.-based boxer also weighed in on the controversial outcome, expressing concern about the potential fall.
Good night for the sport. Didn't get what the decision I want, but we didn't get a loss either, so I felt like I won it, the last couple rounds, so it's cool. Lamont is a great fighter. Hopefully I can get that rematch because I know what I can do in a fight, but it's cool.
Okay, questions?
Okay. Tank, is KG with Fight Hype. I wanted to ask Tank, when the decision was read, the way that you reacted, it looked like you was upset. You slammed your gloves on the canvas. What was going through your mind when you heard the decision?
I didn't slam my glove on the canvas.
Okay, maybe I mistook from my vantage point, so that's my mistake. But what was going through your mind when you heard the decision?
Nobody like a draw, from a guy that get knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. I feel like if we fight again, I could do more, and I should have did more. I was lost in I lost track in the rounds. That's why we need what is it called? Yeah, man. I didn't know what round it was.
Loud among GervontaDavis's young and passionate fan base. He warned that their frustration could lead to negative reactions, possibly even unrest. He noted the palpable tension surrounding the event and stressed the importance of managing fan responses responsibly.
Good night for the sport. Didn't get what the decision I want, but we didn't get a loss either, so I felt like I won it, the last couple rounds, so it's cool. Lamont is a great fighter. Hopefully I can get that rematch because I know what I can do in a fight, but it's cool.
Okay, questions?
Okay. Tank, is KG with Fight Hype. I wanted to ask Tank, when the decision was read, the way that you reacted, it looked like you was upset. You slammed your gloves on the canvas. What was going through your mind when you heard the decision?
I didn't slam my glove on the canvas.
Okay, maybe I mistook from my vantage point, so that's my mistake. But what was going through your mind when you heard the decision?
Nobody like a draw, from
from a guy that get knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. I feel like if we fight again, I could do more, and I should have did more. I was lost in the. I lost track in the rounds. That's why we need what is it called? Yeah, man.
In high-stakes situations like this. His post-fight remarks, GervontaDavis acknowledged that the match was ultimately good for the sport of boxing, and he praised LamontRoach as a tough and skilled opponent.
LamontRoach definitely earned my respect tonight. Definitely one of the first fighters to put Tank to the test. Just matching fire with fire. That was a good fight. For me, I need to see a rematch ASAP. But yeah, Tank definitely took the knee, 100%. I see Roach winning that 7-5 personally, but boxing is business, so they were never gonna let him have that win. Roach's timing was on point though. No easy knockouts tonight. Sharp counters, like. Real, very good fighter, very good fighter. Let me know what you guys think, if that robbery was fair or not. Leave it in the comments.
Davis admitted that fans expect knockouts from him due to his past performances, and that a draw is not the kind of result typically associated with a fighter of his stature.
LamontRoach just got cheated, and LamontRoach's fight versus Tank Davis just ended in a draw. And based on what I just seen, he was winning the fight. But you know what makes it worse? What makes it worse is Tank Davis took a knee. When you take a knee in boxing, that's supposed to be an automatic knockdown. They literally let Tank Davis take a knee. The referee wanted to count. He chose not to count. He went to the corner, wiped off his hair, wiped off his eye, and then kept fighting. And to me, that makes no sense. How are you able to do that and not be a knockdown? Yo, boxing is crazy, bro. It look too pretty. But with all that being said, it was a great fight. I just hate the ending. Give that man LamontRoach the knockdown so he could go ahead and win.
His comments reflected both an awareness of the high expectations placed on him and a genuine recognition of Roach's abilities.
Oh my god, Gervonta just lost his perfect record. His fight with LamontRoach was scored as a majority draw. Roach threw more punches and landed more punches on Gervonta. Just look at the numbers. And was this a knockdown? Roach after the fight wasn't satisfied, and he said if that was scored as a knockdown, he would have won the fight tonight. Gervonta after the fight said that some grease from his hair just got in his eyes and he couldn't see well. Crowd started booing Tank, his own crowd. We all know boxing fans. They love you one day, they hate you one day. That's exactly what Tank said. But what do you think really happened? Was that because Lamont is really that guy? Or is it because Tank really needs to take time to himself, retire, go back to school as he mentioned? I don't know. But you go ahead and comment, let's talk about it.
Calvin Ford, GervontaDavis's trainer, reiterated his earlier assessments of LamontRoach, emphasizing that he had always recognized Roach's.
Well, both of us back today was that again. Nobody won. Nobody won. He could sit there and say, I didn't get knocked out. That's the only thing that's good to say. I didn't get knocked out. Maybe that was his championship, because he did. You know what I'm saying? He fought a brilliant fight. Salute goes off to him. You know what I'm saying? You know, Tank was talking about retirement stuff. That might change that. We don't know. We have to wait and see.
Talent and skill set. Ford's comments suggest that Team Davis was well aware of the challenges Roach would bring, acknowledging the highly competitive nature of the bout. LamontRoach's performance was widely praised.
The great Gervonta Tank Davis. He's returning to defend his WBA lightweight title against LamontRoach, who is moving up from super featherweight. Tank Davis is these days kind of averaging one fight a year, which is a shame. He wants to have 3 more fights and then retire by the end of 2025. Does he get 3 fights this year? Does he actually retire by the end of the year? Who knows? But this may be one of the last times we see him, at least for now. So catch him while you can. One of the most exciting, one of the most hard-hitting fighters in the sport, and we suspect once again that he wins, and I suspect that he wins via stoppage once again. He is one of the hardest-hitting guys in the history of the sport, and we suspect that if he gets by Roach, there could be some big fights on the horizon this year. We don't know, but he's got to get by LamontRoach first. That test goes down this Saturday in Brooklyn.
With many calling him the first fighter to truly challenge GervontaDavis. Fans have since called for a rematch, believing Roach deserves another opportunity to prove himself.
Man, what'd you think? The crowd didn't seem to like the draw. Did you think that was the right call?
Nah, man, I ain't gonna lie. I love Gervonta. Obviously, we come from a lot of the same shit. But I love boxing, and I seen LamontRoach outclass GervontaDavis tonight.
Yeah.
And I ain't against your Tank. I'm just a boxer. If you ask me, I'm gonna keep it real.
Yeah.
I thought Lamont did enough to receive the victory.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't go his way. It was a good fight. The boxing fans won. And shit.
About the knockdown,
I think if anytime you take a knee or touch the canvas, blood touch, and it's through to a blunt punch, or even if you hurt and you go down, that's a knockdown. That's what I know from the rules of boxing since it started. You touch the canvas, it was not counted. He put a halt to the fight to go get his face wiped. These are all penalties, points, all different shit. So, you know, from the game that I know if I was in that bitch, that would have been a knockdown. But it is what it is. You can't let the cash cow go. You filling out these arenas, you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, he was better against Frank Martin. It looked like he was flat tonight.
Styles make fights.
Yeah.
Styles make fights.
Yeah.
And LamontRoach is a stellar fucking fighter. If you know LamontRoach, know his father, know his brother, know they come from a great pedigree of boxing, and you've seen that